Good to go.
Very good. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Vanessa, we're okay?
Yes.
Oh, good morning, everybody, and welcome. We will call to order the regular meeting of the Lawrence County Board of Commissioners. Today is Tuesday, July 18 of 2023. We would ask if you have any type of an electronic communication device, if you kindly put it on silent or vibrate. We would appreciate that courtesy. We always start our meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance, and then we would ask you to remain standing for a brief moment of silence. Commissioner Burek, would you lead us in the pledge?
Certainly.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing. We'll have a brief moment of silence. Thank you. Vanessa, would you please call the roll?
Commissioner Steelvogel? Here. Commissioner Burek?
Present.
Commissioner Vogler?
Here, we have a quorum. As we always do, we will have two opportunities for public comment, both in just a few moments as well as prior to adjournment of the meeting. We would ask if you could keep your comments to approximately 5 minutes or so. A pen? Sure.
Thank you so
There
much.
we are. That's okay. And ask that your comments be related to county government matters. We'd certainly appreciate that so much. The next item on the agenda is row officer reports and comments. None of our row officers are with us this morning. So that takes us to public comment, the first of two public comment periods. Does anyone have a public comment at this time? Yes, sir. Mr. Burchett.
Okay, there's four things in my mind. One was to tell the people who I am, Bob Burchett. The second thing is I got my registration for my title for the automobile, and the $5 fee was on there. And I kind of expected that. What I also got was the registration for my trailer, all right? Normally it's $7, but the $5 fee was on there also. And so that almost doubled my fee on a little utility trailer. So I do have a utility trailer for sale, all right? The next thing, I'm against the commissioners being in the bus business. And I thought about the bus contract. You know, they want $2,300,000 to run the buses, and you people kind of went along with it. They told you what your price was going to be, and yours is going to be higher. I'd suggest maybe next year where you check their, I don't know whether you're allowed to check their books or not, how they arrive at charging you a certain amount, and you maybe limiting the number of trips that you have agreed to. And the fourth thing is the Shenango Plaza. That thing still bothers me, how that guy they wouldn't give him a building occupancy to rent his buildings, and somehow they finagled and spent my money to do this. And I didn't have a chance to buy that property where the Coney Island is going in. I wonder what they sold it for. And poor old Hugger Mugger, the one thriving business out there, they're limiting their parking, and that's going to kill the people. I know when I go to Hugger, I always park there. I didn't want this cramped little parking spot, but good luck with Hugger Mugger, the one surviving place in the plaza. All right, my 5 minutes are up. I believe I can sit down. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Other comments? Mrs. Burchett?
Dorothy Burchett. I'd just like to expand on a couple of things that he said. First of all, this Lawrence Village Plaza is a public-private partnership, which is can be, it can cause problems down the road because in other countries this is called fascism. And a prime example of how this can be misconstrued is our Department of Education, because schools get money from the federal government, and the federal government tells them you have to teach CRT, you have to teach LGBTQ, you have to do this, and you can't tell the parents that. And I think we need to start refusing federal money. And that goes for like the Lawrence Village Plaza. Too late now, but in the future, I think that's something we need to keep in mind. And in regards to accepting federal money, we're too willing to do that. As an analogy, I heard this story about this little boy who would go to the grocery store or wherever he could, and he would steal comic books and take them to the barber shop. And the barber shop would pay him so much for each comic book. He says, "You go get me some more." He didn't ask where he got them, but he had an idea. So the little boy would keep taking them. The barber shop was the fence. The little boy was the thief. The barber shop was the fence. And I think that's where we are getting into that with accepting federal money, because the federal government is taking our money and selling it to county and state governments. So that's where I stand.
Thank you very much. Other public comments? Thank you. Under fiscal and contractual, we have the warrant registers that have been provided to us by the Controller's Office. They are dated July 12 and 13. Give my colleagues some time to look them over, and when you're ready, I can take a motion to accept these reports as they have been submitted.
One question, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
The first warrant register, like the second one is a lot of businesses. The first one is like all individuals. Do we know what those checks are for?
Yes, they are primarily foster parent payments.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's to the best of my knowledge.
I knew some of them were, but some of the names on there, I was just curious. Thank you.
Certainly. Other questions?
I move to accept the warrant registers as presented.
Thank you, Mr. Burek. Is there a second?
I will second.
Thank you, Mr. Spielvogel. Any further comments or questions? We'll do a roll call, please.
Commissioner Spielvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Buick?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes,
Motion carries.
thank you. The minutes of last week's meeting are in our packet.
Mr. Chairman,
Yeah, maybe we're probably, go ahead. I think we're maybe seeing the same thing, but go
I'd
ahead.
like to correct the spelling of Mr. Vitrell's name in the minutes
Oh,
on
wasn't-
page 2, under your comments.
Oh, yes.
Frank Vitrell told me once, they can write whatever they want about me in the newspaper, as long as they spell my name right. So, Vanessa Vitrell is Vitril.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mhm.
You're welcome, Mr. Vitrell. He said you can write whatever you want about me, but spell my name right in the paper.
the minutes note that under general public comments, Mr. and Mrs. Burchett did make comments, but up above, they're not noted as having been in attendance. Could we add their names under the first paragraph, noting that they were also in attendance at the meeting?
Sure.
Thank you. Other concerns about the minutes?
I'll move that the minutes be approved as amended.
I will second.
Thank you both. Other discussion? We'll do a roll call, please.
Commissioner Spielvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Buick?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes?
Motion carries.
Thank you. We've received 2 written communications that need to be entered into the record. The first is an Act 14 notification, which is required by the Pennsylvania Department of Environmental Protection. This is an NPDES permit, which stands for National Pollutant Discharge Elimination System for sewage. The applicant is Beth Wismierski. I hope I said that last name correctly.
Liza Mirsky.
Liza Mirsky, thank you. And,
It's a relative.
oh, okay. I appreciate your correcting me.
I know.
The property is located at 3819 Chuten-Wartenberg Road in Wayne Township. The second notice comes from the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, which is based in Pittsburgh. This is a report relative to an application on the part of Glacial Sand and Gravel Company of Katanning, Pennsylvania. The location is mine number 60 in Scott Township. Purpose and description of the work: the applicant proposes to impact 4 wetlands totaling 1.87 acres associated with a 246.2 acre sand and gravel mine. 200 linear feet of unnamed tributaries B and C to the Slippery Rock Creek will be impacted to construct a haul road and a conveyor belt. And it said the applicant may be required to obtain a water obstruction and encroachment permit, which includes 401 water quality certification from the Pennsylvania Department of Environmental Protection in Knox, Pennsylvania. So those are the 2 documents. As we've noted many times, law requires that the Board of Commissioners be notified in these instances. The board has no regulatory authority over these matters, but we are required to be notified of them. And as such, that's why they're listed on our agenda today to accept these 2 documents. Is there a motion to do that, to accept these 2 letters?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you both, and I'll see if either of you have any comments.
No.
Thank you. We'll do a roll call to accept the 2 pieces of written communication, please.
Commissioner Steelvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Buick?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes?
Motion carries.
Thank you, Vanessa. Under reports, commissioner reports and comments, Mr. Burek, it looks like you get to go first today.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to thank Dorothy and Bob for being here. I do really appreciate it. My father, when he was still alive, used to attend county commissioner meetings, city council meetings. When I was commissioner before, we had probably 7 or 8 people who came regularly. And most weeks we come in and there's no one here from the public. And I miss that interaction. I miss hearing feedback from the community. And so I do thank you for being here and taking the time to come and express your views. I own 3 vehicles and I'm pitching in $15 this year, but thank you for your $10. We're going to make sure it's put to good use to fix roads and bridges that are needed in the county, but I understand your feelings on that issue. Another comment, Dorothy, I tend to agree with you. I heard an a story on the radio this morning driving in. On the one hand, when there's federal funds available, and right now there's more than ever for different projects, everybody says, well, we got to get our share, But we have a problem in this country. The last 4 presidents of both political parties, both Democrat and Republican, have been spending way, way more than we take in. Under the current president, every day, we're going to spend more money on this, give away more money on this, forgive these loans, spend money. The previous president, while some things were better under him, he ran up the federal debt $7 trillion more just during his 4 years in office. Now, COVID contributed to that, but still, the last 4 presidents, 2 Republicans, 2 Democrats, all of them have keep spending money like the old saying, drunk sailors. And our federal government, we are now well into the $30+ trillion in debt. Now, everybody always says, well, compared to the size of our GDP, gross domestic product, which is an economic term, it was always at a reasonable level. An article come out this morning, we are now at dangerous levels of how much debt we have in this country. So I agree with you 100%. We need to stop spending federal money, and the federal government needs to quit. What every politician of both parties try to do is buy votes. And every president comes in, we're going to watch the State of the Union address. I've been watching it for the last 42 years since I was a kid. And every president, every State of the Union, they get up and say,
we're gonna devote 100 billion more to this, and we're gonna devote 10 billion more to this, and I'm gonna propose 50 billion more for this. And it all sounds like a good cause, but when you add up all that money, it's money our government doesn't have. We're borrowing, and I think our federal debt is getting at dangerous levels, and it's unsustainable. It's just like an individual. Every day in the mail, maybe you do the same thing. You get credit card offers. In a given month, I might get 5 or 10 credit card offers. Used to be even more. I could take out 30 new credit cards, and I could go out for a couple months and live it up and buy what I want and charge what I want. But eventually, just the interest on all those charges is going to be more than I can afford to pay every month. And eventually, I'm either going to have to declare bankruptcy or rob a bank or do something because it's not sustainable. Our country is on a financial trajectory from the federal government that's unsustainable. And I think it's very dangerous. And I appreciate your comments. And I wish we had more people elected at the federal level, both our House of Representatives and our U.S. Senate and a president who understand we have to have fiscal responsibility because what the path we're on is not sustainable long term. As a county commissioner, I'm going to vote during the time I'm in office to serve the citizens the best I can. That medical assistance transportation funding, those programs are audited every year. So those books, the money is spent to help people in need. But philosophically, I agree. At some point, we have to all say we got to stop spending all this money that we don't have as collectively as government. But thank you for being here today. Just one other comment. This weekend, I know both of you did the same, but I had the opportunity to travel to 3 of the 4 corners of Lawrence County. Saturday morning, I drove out to Enon Valley, which is in the very southwest corner of Lawrence County, and we all participated in the Enon Valley Community Days. Very great event. I want to thank Judy Foster and Dave Foster and all the folks out there that put that on. Beautiful day in Enon Valley. And then Saturday evening, I went to a family function at a winery up in Pulaski Township, which is in the northwest corner of the state. And then Sunday morning, I drove out to Plain Grove Township, which is in the very northeast corner of the state. And I just want to comment, the beauty of our county is unbelievable. Farm after farm, forest after forest. It was just gorgeous. We live in a very beautiful county. We're blessed with rich farmland. We're blessed with forests. And on my ride to Plain Grove yesterday morning, it was gorgeous. Early morning, I saw a deer in the road right in front of me. I came to a stop and I looked at the deer. The deer looked at me. It was beautiful. And then a short time later, as close as I ever came in person, I was driving up a country road, and right sitting along the side of the road, there was a bald eagle sitting there. I don't know what it was. It was had something it had caught, but I was within 5 feet of a bald eagle. And I just stopped and looked at it. What 2 beautiful creatures. And I just wanted to comment that if you drive around Lawrence County, you know, I'm a Newcastle guy, but when you drive out to the corners of the county, there's so many beautiful farms and fields and forests, and we're really blessed to live in a beautiful county. So those are my comments this morning, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you so much. And it's fascinating. You basically said the same thing in Enon Valley about your drive down
Yes.
from Newcastle to
Yes.
Enon Valley about the beauty. It's funny, you basically are saying
Absolutely.
the same
Well, city people,
Yeah.
you know, I always say that one of the positive, upbeat, one of the beautiful things about being on the campaign trail years ago was going to the different parts of the county and realizing the things that you don't see and following behind a buggy. You know, just taking my time and enjoying it. Otherwise, we're usually in such a hurry and wanting to get somewhere, but that morning it was beautiful. It was, and saying it, that's exactly what I said.
Yeah,
To take that
exactly.
drive and do that, it's almost a good thing that we attend those different events to see the different parts of the county that we have. I don't know if you're finished with your comments. I know I'm up next. I wanted to just segue into,
Sure.
again, we were in Enon Valley, and then being in Plain Grove in the morning for the senior games, I did not realize the extent of what the National Senior Games meant to be located in the Pittsburgh region, as we are part of the Pittsburgh region. We had 2 events that happened, one Sunday morning and one Monday morning, cycling events. Now, I will elaborate because it's worth elaborating on that. Although I had to walk to get to my volunteer spot, I was not going to complain because I felt like a youngster compared to the seniors that were doing the bicycling and warming up for their 20K, as I was walking to my location, there was actually a gentleman, 95 years old. Of course, he won his age group. The most senior person that was there did cycle the 20K, which I think is 13.5 miles. It was so interesting to watch, and the enthusiasm and the family members that were there. And I wondered how we ended up getting it to be in Plain Grove. And I was lucky enough to make the connection Sunday morning. Troy Scully, who is a native of Lawrence County, good friend of mine and friends with his family. He was actually in charge of the event. He's in charge of a lot of the events through the Pittsburgh region. He was the director. Knowing that this event started planning 2.5 years ago, over 12,000 seniors are in this region right now, the Pittsburgh region, doing a variety of different events. And talking with him, just the logistics involved in doing all of these things. So I'll get right to it. When they talked about doing the cycling, the Pittsburgh area, too many hills, too much, too big, it was he who, brought the committee and said, what about somewhere in Lawrence County? We have this rolling farmland. The roads were good. They commented on how well Plain Grove put everything together. They were out there, their public works or their road department, the supervisors, Jeff Bishop, George Rogers, and James Knight. They complimented them on being so open, so welcoming, making everybody feel so comfortable being there, that it was a wonderful event to watch, to participate. And again, I had to walk back on the way back, but I dared not complain because there were many other people that were walking along with me. But Eden Valley, Saturday, absolutely a wonderful event to be at. I did get back for the fireworks, but I believe I heard them in a little bit in the distance from where I was at. And then, of course, Sunday for the cycling event. I didn't make it out on Monday. There was a 40K on Monday, but the enthusiasm was just unbelievable. We should be very proud of the things that we have going on in Lawrence County. And I dare someone to say there's nothing to do in Lawrence County, because I know between the three of us and anybody else here, there is so much that you have to really plan your time out to make sure that you get everywhere. Yes. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, can I add one thing, please? I have to compliment Commissioner Spielvogel. We both signed up to help out from 7 to 9 for the senior games. I got within 1 mile of the Plain Grove Township building, and the road was closed. And the young man had the cones across the road, and he had yellow vest come over. You can't go here, sir. I said, I'm one of the volunteers. He said, I'm sorry, you have to find another way. The road's already closed. So I put in my GPS. I went down the road a couple miles, found another road, went up Golf Course Road. I got close to the thing, and again, the road was closed. A guy came over, I even told him, I'm one of the county commissioners here. I'm supposed to be at the entrance. You're too late. The road's already closed. So I turned around and headed back to Newcastle. Loretta actually parked and walked the rest of the way. So I give her credit, and she was more dedicated than I was on Sunday morning to volunteer for the National Senior Games. So good job, Commissioner Spielberg.
And I couldn't go on Sunday. I had to leave for a meeting yesterday. It was in Harrisburg. I had to drive down to Harrisburg, but I think you have good weather Sunday morning, right?
Yes.
That's good. Actually, on my trip to Harrisburg, it rained up in the mountain areas. So I was a little worried that maybe you've gotten rained on, but apparently not. That's good. So it was nice that we had good weather for all of the events this weekend. Our tourist promotion agency, Visit Lawrence County, and Commissioner Spielvogel sits on their board. Janet Filatico and Jenny Jacob were very active in that.
They were there. Janet was there at 5:45 with her. She said somebody left her one of the headlights, the minor. That's how she was checking people in. It's a joy to be able to do those things, when you make the tough decisions sitting in these chairs, but to get out there and be able to experience what everyone else is experiencing, the positive, fun things kind of, levels the two out. So.
And for those of you who are familiar with Plain Grove Township, it's without a doubt the flattest area of our county. In fact, I get to pick one of our employees in the assessment office who travels the entire county. He says that when he's in Perry Township, he thinks that he's in West Virginia. the hills and valleys, and he says when he's in Pleasant Grove Township, he thinks he's in Iowa.
Yes.
And they're only about maybe 15 miles apart, with different topography. Thank you both.
Sure. And I had a great breakfast sandwich at Marie's Country Store.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, I did. We stopped there and it was a boon for that business too,
Good
because
for
a lot
her.
of people were sitting out front.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
great.
in between, after the race was finished and stuff. So it was nice. It was nice for their economy as well.
That was Cliff Pollock's General Store. And Pollock's Store Road is the name of the road right in front of it. So that's a neat little place.
Yes, yes.
I wanted to thank you both. Also on a positive note, and I don't want to steal your thunder, so I'm going to lay the groundwork, and then from there I'll let you take it. It was noted a few months ago that next year will be the 175th anniversary of the creation of Lawrence County. Counties are formed by the state legislature. We are creatures of the state, and so much of what we do as a county is dictated to us by the Commonwealth. All the rules and laws that we have to follow primarily come out of Harrisburg. But Lawrence County was formed by an act of the legislature in 1849. And what they did is they took the southern portion of Mercer County and the northern portion of Beaver County, and they combined them. And the old line that used to divide Mercer and Beaver counties is right out here, County Line Street, which then if you head east turns into County Line Road. That's the old county line that divided Mercer and Butler counties. Excuse me, thank you, Beaver County, I'm sorry. So we were formed in 1849. 25 years ago, when Commissioner Burek was holding the position of commissioner, it was the county's 150th anniversary. And he co-chaired a committee that undertook a celebration of the creation of the county, of its 150 years. Well, fast forward 25 years, we had a little get-together about 3 weeks ago. The three of us met with Janet Filatico and Jenny Jacob from the Tourist Promotion Agency, Visit Lawrence County. And we invited folks from 3 established historical societies in the county. The Lawrence County Historical Society, which is based in Newcastle. We had Andrew Henley and Claudia Manley from that agency. From the Elwood City Area Historical Society, Bob Morabito attended. And then from the Enon Valley Historical Society, and you mentioned her already, Judy Foster attended the meeting. And we invited President Judge Motto to join us because he was on the bench 25 years ago and played a role in the ceremonies and activities from back then. We also had a young gentleman attend our meeting from Little Beaver Township, Ian Baker. Mr. Baker is employed at Westminster College, but Mr. Baker has designed and actually has produced a flag. And his desire was to have it be the county flag. But as you'll note, right behind Mr. Burek, there is a county flag. It was established in 1982. The Board of Commissioners at that time accepted proposals and drawings and designs for a county flag. They appointed a committee. The committee reviewed all of the submissions, and they chose that flag. And former Commissioner Paul Tanner spearheaded that effort. So we already have a county flag, but this flag that Mr. Baker has designed, he put a lot of thought and time and effort into it. We indicated to him that unofficially, we'll have to officially do this eventually, but unofficially we felt, boy, this will make a great flag to commemorate the 175th anniversary of the creation of this county. Well, in our discussion, we noted that, well, we'd like to have somebody kind of step up to the plate and take on the responsibility of seeing this through and planning some events and activities for next year. And I'm happy to report that our colleague, Commissioner Burek, graciously volunteered to do that. He has said he will chair the upcoming events and activities for next year and start with this core group of people, and I'm sure expand it. So I want to thank, first of all, Commissioner Burek for his willingness to do that. It works out so well because of all the experience you had 25 years ago. You're tailor-made for the position. And I'm so happy that the 3 historical societies have pledged their commitment to being part of this effort. And I commend Mr. Baker. And I think someday Mr. Baker, I think, would like to come to our meeting and unveil the flag. He had it with him in Eden
Yes, he
Valley
did.
and spoke about it. So it's a great flag. But anyway, I wanted to thank you, and perhaps, I know I sprung this on you. You probably weren't expecting me to mention this, but greatly appreciate your willingness to undertake this responsibility. Anything you'd like to add?
Just thank you for your comments, Mr. Chairman, and as the year goes on, between now and the end of the year, I will keep updating folks. And if anybody is interested in serving on this committee to plan several small events next year for the 175th anniversary of the county, feel free to contact me, either call the courthouse or through our county website. You can contact me and send me an email. But we have another meeting coming up here in September. I shared an article I found yesterday with you and Judge Motto on the events, but I'll be updating the public more as the year goes on, and we plan 2024 as another celebration of a milestone anniversary of Lawrence County.
Again, thank you. And we also make note of the fact that in 2049, that will be the county's 200th anniversary bicentennial. You'll still be around. You'll probably chair it then. I won't be around at that point, but I bet you will be, and you can chair it then. So I hope you
God
do.
willing.
Yeah, but thank you again. Anything,
Yes.
Loretta, you wish
No,
to add?
just thank you for doing that, yes.
I'm excited, and I'm so happy
Yes.
that you've agreed to do it.
Thank you very much.
All righty, we will move on to our new business, and today our first department head is Artisha Foster. Tish, if you'd like to come up to the microphone, please. Tish is our director of the tax claim office, and which is primarily responsible for the collection of delinquent property taxes, not only for the county, but for the school districts and most of the school districts and municipalities. What number would her resolution be?
218.
218. And you're here to talk about us participating as part of the Pennsylvania Homeowners Assistance Fund. Would you like to fill us in on this, please?
Well, this has been going on. Pennsylvania Housing before had maybe a sub contractor, I don't know the term, but they had another organization that they were working with. And they offered funding for homeowners that had problems with their mortgages or insurance or delinquent taxes, and they were helping them. They have since taken this on themselves, and so now we have to sort of join with them in order to receive payment. So we've been doing the same thing before, and we were just receiving checks. But now we just have to agree to receive checks, is basically what we're doing. We don't want to not receive their money, so,
So if I understand correctly, is the Pennsylvania Homeowners Assistance Fund, is that handled through a state agency, to your knowledge?
it's handled through Pennsylvania Housing.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Spielvogel, do you have questions for Mrs. Foster? Mr. Burek?
Yes, so this is a new group that took over the function of a previous group, or the new name of an
Well, I
existing
think
group?
Pennsylvania Housing was always through them, but someone else was facilitating it.
Okay.
And now it's going directly through.
So this group actually helps people pay their delinquent taxes?
Mhm.
Wasn't familiar with that. Do they have a website, or? I'll look
I
it up
don't
and see
know.
what I can
Yeah,
find
if
out
there's
about
a
it.
website.
But no, if we have to agree to this to continue to receive the checks,
Mhm.
then I'll support the resolution.
Any other questions for Mrs. Foster? Anything else you'd like to add? Okay, this is proposed resolution 218. I'll ask for a motion, please.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Other comments or questions? We'll do a roll call, please.
Commissioner Spielvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Buick?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes,
Motion carries.
thank you very much. Tish, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. You're welcome to stay, but if you have to head back upstairs, we certainly understand.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tish. Next, we have our planning director, Amy McKinney. And Amy, it looks like we have another participant in the Elwood City Borough Facade Program.
Yep.
Would you like to fill us in? This would be proposed resolution 219. Amy, the floor is yours.
Yep, this is just another application under the Elwood City Facade Program that the county is administering. Carmen Mazant rental property, Lawrence Avenue, I think is where he's located.
Yes.
His total project cost is a little under $5,000, so we're able to allocate him $2,498.29. And he will provide the 50/50 match for his grand total would be $4,996.59. So this was approved by the Elwood City
Okay.
Facade Steering Committee, and once they approved that, they approved that too.
Just a technical question. Does the facade committee have to run it through Borough Council or does it come from them to us?
Yeah, everything the final approval comes through the county commissioners because the grant with DCD is between the county commissioners and DCD. But I don't bring anything before you until their steering committee approves for it to move on. But their borough council does not have to at all.
Does the steering committee have one or two Borough Council members on it?
Yeah, Brad Oviol is on
Okay,
there, yeah, and
that's
there's one
good.
other one. Caleb.
Caleb
Yeah,
Cradle. Okay,
yes.
that's good then. So
Yes,
I'm
yes,
assuming what
yes.
happens is those two gentlemen probably communicate
Yeah.
with their colleagues on
Yeah.
Borough Council.
Yeah, Borough Council is the ones who selected the steering committee, and Ed Laborie is also on the committee, he's their solicitor.
Yeah.
And he is on all the emails with all the information that's sent to him as well.
Anytime I hear Ed's name, I smile because Ed's got a great sense of humor.
Oh, yes,
He is a funny,
He
funny,
is, he
good
is.
lawyer, but he's a
Yes.
funny man. Mr. Burek, questions for Amy?
No questions.
Loretta?
No questions.
Thank you. Well, this is proposed resolution 219, and I assume you're recommending that we,
I am recommending,
move
yes,
forward
that we move
favorably?
forward with the agreement.
Move for its approval.
thank you.
Second.
Thank you both. Any other comments or discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Spielvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Buick?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Vanessa. Amy, thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else for us
Nope,
today?
I'm good, thank you, have a good day.
You too. Take care. The next item, I guess our warden's not available today, do you know? Are you probably speaking on his
Yes.
behalf? Okay, thank you. We actually have two items.
Yes.
Proposed resolutions 220 and 221, and I'm going to defer to Commissioner Spielvogel. She chairs the prison board. As we've said many times, the Commonwealth stipulates that the oversight of the jail consists of a 7-member board consisting of the 3 commissioners, the district attorney, the sheriff, the county controller, and the president judge. And then amongst those 7, we elect a board chair. Commissioner Spielvogel is currently the chair of the prison board. And we have 2 proposals in front of us which would allow us officially then to enter into agreements with Washington County and Fayette County to accept juvenile offenders and house them in our jail in a segregated area. But I'm probably stealing your thunder. So I'll turn it over to you. You can,
There's no thunder,
you can
it's
fill
just
us
the legalities of it. As you may remember, several weeks ago, we approved a contract with Westmoreland County. This mimics and mirrors that same contract that allows Lawrence County, our correctional facility, to receive juveniles, interest of justice juveniles. These are juveniles that are charged as adults, and they are incarcerated in our correctional facility. These are 2 contracts with 2 counties that have expressed an interest in housing those types of juveniles if the need should arise. So what we are doing is making sure that when that situation happens, because of course it doesn't happen, 8 to 4 during a regular workday, these things generally happen in an emergency type situation. We want to make sure that we are able to receive them and then also be able to receive the per diems that we would be getting per day for those juveniles. There's a need to house juveniles, and it's, you know, throughout our Commonwealth, probably across the nation, but we are attempting to meet that need in a variety of different ways, and this is just one of them that we're doing so. It's a recommendation from the prison board to approve these contracts, so I would certainly be in favor of making the motion, and if you would like, we can take both of them together. I would make the motion for resolutions 220 and 221 be approved.
Please, go
I'll
ahead.
second the motion.
Thank you both. And am I correct that they will be housed in an area that is separate from where the adult prisoners are currently housed? Or am I mistaken?
There are two different things that we are doing with the juveniles. Yes, they are separate in that area. We did have a representative come down to check the facility to make sure that we were being compliant with state rules and regulations. So that is definitely being done. Yeah, there are certain rules that we have to follow, keeping them separate. They can't be in the same cell together, you know, certain things as far as medical, you know, educational aspects of it. Those needs are all being met. We are compliant with what we need to do from the state.
And the revenue, as noted here, the payment would be $800 a day per juvenile offender.
Yes.
Obviously, when we formulated last year's budget and adopted it, this really wasn't in the works at that
No,
time. So this is unanticipated
Yes,
revenue
it is.
for the county,
Yes.
which is obviously a good thing.
Absolutely.
Mr. Gurick, do you have questions?
No, the solicitors reviewed the agreement, I reviewed it, and I'm sure the Commissioner Spielvogel will update us tomorrow, but as of today, we still have 2 of these juveniles from Westmoreland in our
Yes.
facility.
Yes.
And Fayette and Washington, do they have any they need to send us right away, or this is just to have needed in case the situation arises?
Correct, if the situation arises, yes.
I support the resolution. Both resolutions.
I do as well. And, thank you for your work on this. Thanks to the warden.
Absolutely.
So we have before us, and it's been motioned and appropriately seconded for approval of resolutions 220 and 221. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, we'll do a roll call, please.
Commissioner Spielvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Buick?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes,
Motion carries.
thank you. We have before us 2, 4, 6, I believe 8
Yeah.
I thought
proposed.
you were doing a cheer, I have to say that, 2, 4, 6. How do we appreciate
Yeah,
it?
who knew
I'm sorry.
Oh, that was good.
That's
I like
fine.
that.
We do appreciate him coming.
Mr. Grippo, you have them here, and how about if we go through them one at a time, and then if there are no major concerns, we can take them as a group, but let's start with the order in which we have them, Mike.
Yeah, and I have them in order.
Oh, good. The first is community alternatives of
Yeah, I mean, the
Newcastle.
only thing is with Cray, because there's 3 different,
Right,
but it was kind of broken up here, but I have it, yeah, when I get to it, I have it on page 3 and 4, I have the programs.
Thank you. And then I assume, maybe just to save you a little bit of time, are they all renewals or?
Yeah, they're all renewals.
Okay, that's great. Thank you. So we'll start with the
So,
community alternatives.
Community alternatives is a JPO contract. We use them also. The nice thing about them, now that is program funded, so the nice thing about the alternative is they're willing to, depending on any time of the day, 5 o'clock at night, 6 o'clock at night, they're willing to go to the people's houses to their
yes.
program. Which makes it nice because obviously some may not have transportation to get to a facility where they have to get the service. So that's one thing. And then we support JPO by using their program on it. Now, there is no increase from last year. Actually, they've had the same rate from when I have it back to 2021. So the rate's the same. So that's what,
Thank you. Questions for Mr. Grippo on proposed resolution 222?
No.
Thank you. The next is Lawrence, number 223 is Lawrence County Social Services, based in Newcastle.
yeah, that's LCAP. And the third page, it breaks down the programs that they have. It's an in-home provider. They offer the SAFE program, a parenting program, the iMatter program, and the Life Skills Enhancement program. So it tells you exactly what the total of all the programs are. And LCAP itself, if you look on their breakdown, they had, for the SAFE program, it didn't increase at all. And then the iMatter and the Life Skills Enhancement program was 3%, within the range we're trying to keep everybody at. So it's an in-home provider we use, and then obviously there's some of them where the head count we use them all the time on that.
Questions from the board on proposed resolution 223? Okay, proposed resolution 224 would be with Cray Youth and Family Services, also based in Newcastle.
Okay, this particular one is just their foster care. Okay, and then their foster care, we carry anywhere 30 kids last year, 23 kids, and they may be down to about 13.
Okay.
Okay, 10 to 13. Cray, foster care. When we look at the whole package, you're gonna see the increase because the Cray itself was broke down to a 3.87% increase over the year. But even though it looks like a 13% foster care and it looks like Cray's foster care specialized was 5%, but when you look at the whole program from last year, the dollars, it only increased that much. So that's the foster care, which they're one of the least expensive when we look at the foster care of all the providers.
Mhm.
So they're one of our go-to first.
Mike, thank you. I'll see if my colleagues have any questions. Okay, hearing none. Proposed resolution 225, is it pronounced Diacon?
Yeah,
And I before you even start, I have a quick question. Your supplemental sheet has them listed as Berks County, but Middletown, Pennsylvania is in Dauphin County. Is there do they maybe have a satellite office in
they
Berks? or-
they could. That's just where we do our contracts through.
Okay.
I just look at the address on resolution.
Okay,
That don't mean that that's the place where
Right.
all right.
the child could be placed.
Right.
And
But we just have one child there. We had them there last year and then continued this year. I think the one that we use is the first one, and it was just a 1% increase on that. And again, it was something that as we call and continue to call and continue to call, when we have certain situations with children, they were able to take this child. Okay.
thank you, Mike. Brian or Loretta, any questions on proposed resolution 225?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Okay,
Next,
Oh, Children's Advocacy.
number
CAC.
226 is Children's Advocacy Center, also located in Lawrence County.
Now, year over year, it was a 0% increase on it. And then the Children's Advocacy Center, they do the parents as teachers, family reunification, and MDT, multidisciplinary team. Again, it's just a provider that's right there that we use constantly in our county. They do a great job.
Yes.
All of them do it.
Yes.
And we had, I don't know, we had 250 last year, 291, and it's all recommended that they actually see the people get to that,
Yes.
not a foster.
Any questions for Mr. Grippo on proposed resolution 226? Okay, thank you. Next is another Cray Youth and Family Services. This is resolution 227.
Okay, so if you look on page 4, I have the in-home. And I also have the special grants list, which is the next one.
Right.
Okay, and it's Cray, and again, year over year, it was like 3.87%. Okay, so the in-home is 3.87%. Cray special grants was minus 2.2%. Okay, so it's right in that range. But they provide the Crossroads after-school program, homemakers, help parents clean their house, stuff like that. Community services is a JPO program. That's a JPO only program. And then, of course, the visitations where they come and parents get to visit the kids. That's the in-home program. And then the next one is the special grants, the independent living.
No, wait, have we moved to 228 then?
Yes.
Well, let's stop at 227.
Right.
Let me see if my colleagues have any questions on that one.
No.
Okay, thank you. Now we'll move on to proposed resolution 228, which is also Cray, but a different topic, so I'll let you fill us in.
That's the special grants, independent living, home builders, and then, of course, truancy. Again, these are all programs that are vital to the kids, without placement in foster and stuff like that we can help prevent that. But yeah, so as a whole, we kept the prices down within reason, you know. And again, they're all our main providers that we use right now.
Mike, thank you. Brian or Loretta, questions on proposed resolution 228?
No.
And then I believe this would be the last one, Mike, number 229,
Yes.
Children's Home of Pittsburgh.
Yeah, the children's home, last year we had, or 21, 22, we had 3 kids. Today we have 2 kids currently in there. But if you look at the last sheet, they were asking, this is what they were asking for. And we got them down to 3%. The very last sheet on that. So we try to kept it in the range of 3%, knocked down a little bit, you know. And again, it's just a provider that we use. And their rates ain't bad, really, compared to a lot of the other ones. So.
Thank you for that. Loretta or Brian, questions on the last proposed resolution?
No.
Thank you. If you're so willing, I could take a motion then for us to approve resolutions 222 up through and including 229.
So moved.
Second.
And thank you both, and let me then see if there are questions on any of them. Loretta?
I don't have a question on any of them, but I do, you know, as much as I agitate you and we joke about things, thank you. Thank you for all of the work behind the scenes. I know that you guys, more so the last couple of years with these contracts and keeping the numbers in line, it's vitally important that we keep the contracts, that we keep the services, but at the same time, keep those numbers in a budgeted space that they're affordable. So thank you, seriously.
I mean, most of the in-home, the director did the negotiation.
Yeah. Right. Yes, endless hours, I'm sure,
Yeah.
definitely. But thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Burek, final questions or concerns?
None, just echo Loretta's comments. Thank Mike and John and all the staff at CWS for all the work they put in to get these contracts to carry out our responsibilities.
Thank you both. I apologize. Did we do the motion yet? We did.
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't do roll call.
let's do that now.
Commissioner Steelvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Buick?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes,
Motion carries.
thank you. Mike, thank you as always.
I thought this would be a little bit more complicated, because I had those little graphs and the, you know.
Listen, we've said it time and again, these are excellent.
Yes,
Yeah.
they are.
I keep them and.
Oh, you're welcome. All right, thanks.
Yes.
Take care, Mike.
All right.
We have a couple of proposed transfers. The first would be a $5,000 transfer. By the way, this would be resolution 230.
Yes.
Thank you. We're looking at a $5,000 transfer from the Commissioner's contingency into that of the Maintenance Department's overtime line item. This document is in front of us for consideration. Would someone wish to make a motion?
So moved.
Second,
And I'll ask for any comments or questions.
quick question, is this for overtime already worked or in case it's needed?
In case it's needed.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate that question.
Oh, I see what it's for, yeah, I support this.
Thank you. Other
We have a
questions
little
or
project going on, we need to get done, so.
other questions or comments? Thank you. We have a motion and a second. We'll do a roll call, please.
Commissioner Steelvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Buick?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Vanessa. Next is our two transfer requests, which if you'd like, assuming we are in accord, we can take them both together. The first is from the courts. They are asking for a $2,000 transfer from their contingency into that of their arbitrator line item. And then under District Judge Amodi's office, they would wish to take $75 from their temporary part-time staff line item, transfer that into association dues. What are the wishes of the board on these requests?
Move for their approval.
For both of them?
For both
Brian, thank
transfers.
you, and you're in agreement for both?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Questions or concerns? Hearing none, Vanessa, could you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Steelvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Buick?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. We had to table a couple of weeks ago a proposed resolution number 198. We, of course, serve as the part of the governing board for West Central Job Partnership, along with our colleagues up in Mercer County, the three commissioners up there. And we tabled this just to allow us the opportunity to have some discussion with Mr. Dogan and his staff from West Central at our most recent public meeting of the governing board. I believe the questions we had were answered by him, and this proposed resolution would name 4 people. Some of them are returning, and at least one of them is new, onto the Workforce Investment Board. But in order for us to consider it, we need to take it off of the table. Could I have a motion to do that, please?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
That carries. Now we have for consideration proposed resolution 198. This resolution would, if I'm not mistaken, it would reappoint Tammy Barbati, who represents the workforce category B3 sector. She is employed at the Pennsylvania CareerLink office here in Newcastle. It would reappoint Mr. Joseph Miller from Berner International. Their facility is out in Shenango Township, and he would be representing the small business category A1. Dr. Susan Lautenbacher, who is the Chief Executive Officer of Lark Enterprises. Her address here is listed as their facility office in Neshannock Township. They also have one in Shenango, but the address here is the one in Neshannock. And then the new appointment is Mr. Benjamin Bush. He is representing the Economic and Community Development category, which is known as D1. And Mr. Bush is the CEO of the Lawrence County Regional Chamber of Commerce. This is proposed resolution 198. Would one of you be willing to make a motion to adopt it?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you both. Mr. Burek, any questions or concerns?
No, I'm ready to proceed with the appointment.
Thank you. And how about Commissioner Spielvogel? Okay. Well, we have a motion and a second to appoint one of these folks and reappoint the others. We'll ask for a roll call, please.
Commissioner Spielvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Buick?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes,
Motion carries.
thank you. And I believe again, we'll continue to keep the other matter on the table. That's the wish of the board. Couple of announcements. Tomorrow, July 19, at noon, the Lawrence County Prison Board will hold its regular public monthly meeting, 12 noon here in this office, or in this room. It's this meeting room, it's open to the public. And then our Board of Commissioners will reconvene a week from today, Tuesday, July 25 at 10 a.m. and it's open to the public. I'll note for the record that we do not have any other members of the public in the room at the time, but a couple staff folks here. Any public comment before we move forward? Thank you. Closing comments. Commissioner Spielvogel, anything you'd like to add?
Nothing. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Burek?
Nothing further, thank you.
All right, thank you. And then Joe or Vanessa, perhaps anything we may have overlooked to your knowledge? All righty, well, we still went over an hour, but we had a lot of territory to cover. May I have an adjournment motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. The motion carries. The meeting is adjourned. Thank you all. Joe, you'll take care of pushing the right buttons over there. Thanks, Joe.